Welcome back to State of the Union. President Obama is leaving his foreign trip early today to get back after what he's called a tough week. He has plans to visit Dallas this week, but he just weighed in, so let's listen to what he had to say.
One of the great things about America is that individual citizens and groups of citizens can petition their government, can protest, can speak truth to power, and that is sometimes messy and controversial, but because of that ability to protest and engage in free speech, America over time has gotten better. We've all benefited from that.
With me now is Department of Homeland Security Secretary Jeh Johnson and New York Police Commissioner Bill Bratton. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Jake.
So let's begin with the killing of 5 police officers in Dallas, Texas. President Obama spoke about the shooting yesterday during a press conference in Poland, and this is what he had to say about the motives of the killer. Take a listen.
I think it's very hard to untangle the motives of this shooter. By definition, if you shoot people who pose no threat to you, strangers, you have a troubled mind.
Secretary Johnson, what exactly is hard to untangle about the killer's motives? They seem fairly clear-cut to me.
Well, as Chief Brown noted, the shooter apparently told the hostage negotiator that he wanted to kill white people, especially white police officers. I think that's a quote from Chief Brown. The investigation, however, is still early. We're investigating every aspect of this shooter's life. I suspect we're going to know a lot more very quickly. But in any investigation like this, you want to make sure you have the facts right. This is a terrible act. This is the murder of 5 brave police officers. We mourn them. We stand with their families during this tragedy. And on a broader basis, this is a time for healing. It's a time for coming together. There's a lot of anxiety in this country right now. But at a moment like this, we need to take the opportunity to come together, develop community relations across the country with police departments and the like. This was a terrible, heinous act, and we need to stand with our law enforcement officers. They're there to protect us and to serve the public, and let's not forget that.
Commissioner Bratton, something seemingly unprecedented happened in Dallas. The police department there used a bomb robot to kill the gunman. Going forward, do you think there needs to be a nationwide discussion among police chiefs to set a standard for this before it becomes common practice?
Every use of force is evaluated. This one will certainly be the subject of great discussion, great evaluation, and it must be, and a transparent discussion about it. Based on the preliminary information available to me, I support the decision by Chief Brown to use that device for that purpose. But going forward, that it will require a great deal of evaluation and discussion as to its appropriate use. Each one of these situations is very different. For this particular situation, I believe, based on the information I have, it was an appropriate decision to save the lives of additional police officers. So I have no problems with it as it was used in Dallas.
The head of the National Association of Police Organizations, William Johnson, gave an interview on Friday in which he seemed to blame the Obama administration, at least in part, for what happened in Dallas. Take a listen.
It's a war on cops, and the Obama administration is the Neville Chamberlain of this war. I think their continued appeasement at the federal level with the Department of Justice, their appeasement of violent criminals, their refusal to condemn movements like Black Lives Matter, actively calling for the death of police officers, that type of thing, all the while blaming police for the problems in this country, has led directly to the climate that has made Dallas possible.
Now, Secretary Johnson, I know that you reject this argument, but is the fact that there are some police officers out there who feel this way, isn't that a problem?
Well, of course, we absolutely reject any such notion. The fact is that we're here today with Commissioner Bratton of the New York City Police Department to stand with our law enforcement community here in New York and across this nation. And in fact, over the last 7.5 years, and during the time I've been secretary, we've enhanced our cooperation with local and state law enforcement to share information about what we see on a federal level. Through our grant-making activity, just in my department, we do a lot to support the efforts of the local police in terms of surveillance, communications, first responder equipment to protect their own safety, their own lives. And we're working closely with state and local law enforcement every single day. And at a time like this, it's our administration standing today with the police department, with the law enforcement community across this country to say we mourn the loss of 5 brave heroes in Dallas, and we're going to keep working together at this. It is critical for the public to know that the police is there to protect and to serve our communities. That's what they do every single day. And the actions of a few who engage in excessive force are not reflective of the law enforcement community at large, who every day is protecting the public.
Secretary Johnson, as I'm sure you know, the Bahamas is now telling young men from the Bahamas traveling to the United States that they should exercise extreme caution when interacting with the police here. African-American parents, especially those who have sons, are grappling with what to tell their children these days, especially in the wake of the deaths of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile, who were killed by police in Louisiana and Minnesota. What advice do you have for those parents, Secretary Johnson?
Well, I've obviously got some experience with this as a parent and as somebody who's been around. I'm 59 years old now, and I've had my share of unpleasant encounters with law enforcement when I was much younger.
What kind of experience did you have as a younger man, if you don't mind me asking, sir?
Well, you know, the type of road encounters that others have talked about. But, you know, we have to put it in perspective. And, of course, they're unpleasant. But they do not reflect the actions of law enforcement in general. Incidents of profiling, of excessive force are not reflective of the larger law enforcement community that every single day is out there to serve and protect us. And I think we have to remember that, especially now when tensions are so high. We mourn the loss of 5 heroic police officers in Dallas who were there to protect those engaged in a peaceable demonstration. And the response there, when they're being shot at, is to want to protect the public, is to make sure that those civilians there are safe. That's the reaction of a law enforcement. That's what we expect, and that's in fact what happens every single day, and it's important to remember that.
That's right. They ran right into the fire, not away from it. Secretary of Homeland Security Jeh Johnson, New York Police Commissioner Bill Bratton, thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.